Henry, we are sitting here in your beautiful country home in Kent, and at the same time, Israel is exposed to a particularly brutal form of war, exactly 50 years after the Yom Kippur War. Is that also a consequence of Western naivete in dealing with Islamist fundamentalism?
It's the result, in part, of the Hamas believing that they could undertake such an action with the support of its neighbors and with the acquiescence of other countries, including Europe, without serious damage to themselves. If they had not thought that, they would not have undertaken it.
Henry, Hamas just said that for each attack on Gaza, they would kill one Israeli hostage. I think it is a terribly difficult decision for a politician. What would you do as a head of state? What would you recommend how to handle this situation of blackmailing?
It's a heartbreaking decision to make. And for me, sitting on the outside, it is not possible to state a complete answer. Theoretically and conceptually, I would say that we cannot yield to that. Because if that form of warfare is permitted, that the terrorists can appear openly and take hostages and kill people, and that then the international community talks of peace between the people who originated the conflict and Israel is not conceivable to me. There has to be some penalty, there has to be some serious limitation of their capability of taking this kind of action again. This is an open act of aggression by a country that was, in a way, liberated by Israel, in the sense that Israel gave it its freedoms by withdrawing its forces. Of course, the first instinct is to bring back peace. But you can't make concessions to people who have declared and demonstrated by their actions that there cannot be peace.
What do you expect from the European Union in that context?
It should make clear to countries that are not engaged now that they would pay a price for engaging.
What should Germany do in that situation?
I believe there should be unconditional political support for substantial Israeli action.
Political support only, or also military support?
I don't know what Israel needs at this moment. But in the extreme, yes.
Henry, for you, being born in Germany and having survived the Holocaust, how does it feel if now on Berlin streets Arabs are celebrating the attack on Israel publicly and are distributing sweets to other people?
I do not have a grievance against the German people. I find celebrations about what happened, which technically was a sort of criminal act, as painful. It was a grave mistake to let in so many people of totally different cultural and religious and concepts, because it creates a pressure group inside each country that does that.
Henry, let me ask you about your own memories and recollections about the peace negotiations in order to settle the Yom Kippur War. Are there any learnings that you would apply to the current events?
The Middle East conflict has the danger of escalating into bringing in other Arab countries under the pressure of some of their public opinion. And then we are back to where we were in 1973. And in 1973, we had the good fortune that was an Arab leader with a vision of the future. And therefore it was possible to make a peace agreement with him, and that sparked a similar agreement with Syria. And I don't think it's possible to find leaders among the Hamas group. I think Hamas should be excluded from a political role.
What do you think are the real goals that the perpetrators want to achieve with this attack?
Whose purpose can only be to mobilize the Arab world against Israel and to get off the track of peaceful negotiations. At the same time, I think it's possible that Israel will take actions against what they consider the perpetrators.
And that is Iran.
And that is Iran. And it is also possible that the large number of weapons that are assembled in Lebanon against Israel will be activated.
Henry, one last question. Is what we are experiencing now in Ukraine and in Israel still regional war, or is it a more fundamental attack on democracy?
Well, it's a fundamental attack on the international system by the people who undertake it. But in the Gaza situation, on this day, one can only speak for the fact that Israel must vindicate its sovereignty in that area, and that it cannot permit Gaza to return to the status from which it could emerge, take 1,000 hostages, or a large number of hostages, kill 1,000 and more people, and then expect to live in that condition side by side with Israel. And I would say that every European nation has the same interest, because the same attitude might erupt in the direction of Europe.
Henry, thank you very much. Thank you very much.